Hello, children of the world. Yes, that means you. Everyone in Videoland watching this. Tonight I have something to discuss with you. Sometimes we go out for a drive with different people, different friends. And one of my friends asked me one of two most peculiar questions, one of which I'm going to address in this video. The other one I will address in another video. In this video, I was asked, why do people fear turning to Jesus? Well, I will try to be as brief as I can. I could be here for 2 hours talking, but I will try to keep this limited. To answer that question, first, we must address another far more important question. What is fear? How do we define what fear is? Fear is defined as a fearful, how should we word this? Something that is to be a fearful consequence for an inappropriate action or deed. Now, I know that sounds pretty technical, and it is really technical. It was really hard to say it outright and get it correctly. What this basically means, and I will define it using examples. If a person were to walk into a police station with 50 police officers, and this person had a loaded gun with the hammer cocked, pointed at the head of another person in a threatening manner, number one, this person would be foolish because, well, you just wouldn't do this. Simply because you would be afraid of the consequence of your inappropriate action. This inappropriate deed you are doing. If the police didn't shoot you first, which they very well could, you would be afraid of dying, or you would be afraid of the fact that they would overpower you, take your gun away from you, arrest you, and try you for attempted murder and 50,000 other charges that they could drum up on to make sure that you didn't have the opportunity to ever do this again. And the reason why you don't do this is for fear of what the court system would do to you, the fear of losing your freedom, the fear of being behind bars, the fear of a criminal record. And this fear is used as a deterrent to prevent you from doing such a thing. Much like you would not invite 50 police officers on a bank heist. You'd also be foolish to do so. Yeah, I could just see you going down to the local precinct. Hey guys, follow me over to the Third National. We're going to break into the vault. Yeah, I could just see now how that's going to go over. No more than you would invite a bunch of federal agents to sit and watch you take a computer and try to crack into the Pentagon's computer. Once again, you would be very foolish, and the reason you do not do these things is because you fear the consequence of your inappropriate action or deed. And that sums up exactly what fear is. It is a deterrent to prevent you from doing something which is totally unwanted. Anyway, now, some of the phrases I have to use, you have to take very cautiously. This next statement, I will say it twice. The reason why people are afraid to turn to Jesus. Number one, in another video I have done, you have to select the right path that Jesus Christ is on. And in that video, it describes to you the path that you will most likely find Jesus Christ on. It is not a path paved with gold, nor is it a dirt trail lined with breadcrumbs and a few rocks. The path to Jesus Christ is the most vile and the ugliest path you can imagine. The reason for this is because Satan, otherwise known as Lucifer, the fallen angel, Beelzebub, he has many names, but he only has one use, and that's evil. One use is Lucifer, evil. And the reason why that this one particular path would be loaded with such vileness is because Lucifer does not want you to walk this path. He wants to make sure that you do not go to the Son of God for salvation. This is his task, to buy him time. He needs your soul to buy him time. That's also covered in another video I did. Your soul is a grain of sand. He will put the best that hell has to offer on this trail to bar your path. If you were a hunter going out into the wilderness and you saw a path that was just loitered with briars and thorns and thickets and thistles and poison ivy and rattlesnakes and king cobras and bats and gloomy looking trees and I don't know, probably some rabid coyotes lingering around it. Maybe a couple of lions laying off watching the path. Or a herd of elephants ready to stampede at any moment. I mean, anything that you could deem as vile and wicked along this path, it would be on it. Chances are that stuff is there to keep you and deter you from going to Jesus. It's put there as fear to prevent you from going to him. You see, Jesus did say, the world hated me, they will hate you. They crucified me, they will crucify you. So pick up your cross and follow me. These are statements you can find in the Bible. And these statements are very true because Satan will cause these things to happen. He don't want you going to Jesus. He wants you to go take this easy trail so that you think you're heading to Jesus and you're really not. You're on the trail of deceit, a trail that has no bottom, a trail that will drop you off into a snare or into a pit. That's what you got to be careful of. And Lucifer uses fear. He uses this as a tool of deterrent because, and here's one of the statements that you need to pay very close attention to because it can be easily misconstrued. In the eyes of Satan. Let me say that part again with emphasis. In the eyes of Satan, comma, it is a sin for a man to go to Christ. One last time. In the eyes of Satan. It's a sin against Satan for a man to go to Christ for salvation. Let that burn into your head because Satan is anything anti-God. And he is. The Bible tells you these things. And he is going to put the best of the best that hell has to offer on the only path, and I will say that again, the only path to Jesus. It's the only path to heaven. One path. And that is where you're going to find all that he has to stop you from getting to Christ. That is the way he is going to deter you from getting to salvation. This is what Jesus Christ meant. If your path that you're walking doesn't meet with constant persecution, constant belittlement and hatred from the world, continuous aggravation and stress trying to deter you from your righteous path, constant problems and troublesome and bothersome, and people trying to beat you up and take your stuff and cursing you and threatening you and just doing everything that they can to drive you insane, and not a moment's peace. If you are experiencing all of this without a single moment's peace, congratulations, you're on the right path. Keep walking it. Keep doing what you're doing and smile about it. Know in your heart that if you're being persecuted, you're in the best company there is to be in, because Jesus Christ was persecuted. If you have people ganging up and beating you up, you're in the best company there is, because they did Jesus the same way. If you're in a group that is ridiculing you and mocking you and spitting on you and taking your stuff and dragging you to court and making you poor and everything else, you're in the best company you could possibly be in, because they did Jesus just like this. Now, when you get despaired and you look over your shoulder at all of the despair and all of the vileness and the wickedness and the no mercy and everything that's coming your way, then you know you're doing it right, because you cannot make God happy and please the world. The Son of God could not do that. What makes you think you can? The world hated Jesus. They'll hate you too. He said so. And God will rejoice because you give up the things of the earth. You're on the right path if these things are happening. If you're walking the road and there ain't no trouble, every now and then, the devil, he's going to throw you off track. He's going to say, well, here's a little trouble here. Well, you just lost your job. Ha, 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 ha. Now you're being persecuted, and that makes you think, well, the world's coming to an end, because now you're going to lose your house, now you're going to lose your car, now you ain't got no money, you might get a divorce because you ain't working, and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's just a hiccup. That's nothing. If you've lost your house and you've lost your job and you've lost your car and your wife has left and your kids don't want nothing to do with you and your family is persecuting you because they think you're just this lazy bum and they don't want to do anything to help you, and they got you on the ground and they keep kicking you while you're down, and you ask for water and they throw gall in your face, and you stick your hand out and they bite your hand. You're starving to death and they send you to a toilet trough to get something to eat. Remember who is there with you. They did Jesus the same way. Rejoice in the fact that when this storm ends, you will have won your crown. You will have won this race, because you cannot take anything from this world with you on that other side. You just can't do it. So, why are people afraid and fear turning to Jesus Christ? The answer to that question is because it is a sin against Satan. Not God, Satan. And this is what he does to punish you. So, there's the answer to your question. Anytime you run into something that challenges you like this, and you're like, I don't understand. Why is it so hard to serve Christ? Why is it so difficult? The answer is very simple. You must analyze it. Satan does not want you to have a paradise that he will never have. He knows what's in heaven. He knows what it's like. And he would do anything to get back there. Remember, the Bible says he was stripped of his glory and cast down. Satan had glory, and he traded it in for evil. Well, such is why we are here. And Satan is going back to the pit. He knows it. He just don't want you to know it. He's going back to his home in the pit. And this time, he going to be there and never remembered. He ain't getting out. And he's going to suffer forever. And he will be watching a paradise that he once had forever. So, when someone asks you, why do people fear going to Jesus? Explain to them what fear is. Explain to them why you don't do certain things. Give them examples and teach what fear actually is. Then they will understand why Satan is doing this and why all of this calamity has befallen them. They'll understand then. I hope this clears up a question that has been very difficult to explain for a lot of people. Take care, brethren.